Welcome everybody to another episode of Me and Myself. And we had a little 2-week hiatus moment simply because of the fact we're broke, struggling, and just trying to achieve a dream out here. But nonetheless, we're back and we're joined with Jay Saint. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. You have a lot to be excited about in this moment. You have your EP coming, your new single Stripper Moves. How are you feeling in this moment?
I'm feeling blessed. I feel very excited, and I'm humbled. I'm humbled by everything. I'm humbled by how great my skin has been acting this summer.
Right.
And
Amazing.
yeah, like I just feel like I'm starting to come into myself like as a person. I know who I am. So, it's good times. Great times.
What do you think is attributed to you coming into your own as a person? Is it like career-oriented stuff? Is it just the way God's timing or whoever up there's timing is working?
I feel like the timing of everything, everything is starting to align itself exactly the way I want it. And I feel like it's not a coincidence. I work really, really hard, and you know, it's just the timing. I've paid my dues.
Yeah.
I've paid my dues. I've waited on the sideline, and I feel like now it's time for me to get in the game.
Yeah.
It's my time to shake shit up.
Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, Jay Saint has a resume. And when Kenneth, your PR, sent me the email, I was like I knew of you and your music, but then I saw, your background and what you've worked in, and I was like, Jay has a resume here. So I completely understand what you mean when you say you've paid your dues. I wanted to get into those dues you've paid actually, and like your background in music, how you started, and then getting into Bad Boy. So how did you get your start in music?
So
Essentially.
I essentially got my start through songwriting. I've written, and it was a journey. It wasn't easy for me to jump into the songwriting game. For all the songwriters who think it's like, oh, write a song, send it to someone. No, it doesn't. No, no, no.
Yeah.
So someone believed in the way that I formatted my songs and thought that it was something that they needed for the label. So I, in turn, was just offered an opportunity to write for Danity Kane. And I was one of 16 writers that was a part of the whole making the band, um, you know, uh, empire.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely an
It was a
empire.
time, yeah.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to write with the girls, sit with them, see what the vibe was between the writers and them, and see what they were feeling. They kind of did a cut too, just like how they did cuts,
Yeah.
and it cut down to 8. Some of the writers were seasoned writers who've written for like Whitney and all of them. So, it's just a young person that just came out of college. Like for me, that was just like a big,
Yeah.
huge dream. I didn't necessarily know any of the writers. I just knew that I was good at what I did. So,
Yeah.
I was studying and being a student at the same time. Or I was being a student at the same time as, grasping an opportunity and trying to be heard. So, that's where I got my start. I got my start at Bad Boy, writing for the girls. I had to fight to get some credit for the stuff that I
Yeah.
did. I was young and dumb and was just like so happy to be a part of it, everything. But when residual income didn't hit the way it was
Right.
supposed to hit, I had to kind of like, figure out the legalities of everything. And, I learned it the hard way, but, it kind of just, kept, you know, kept me really, really, what's the word? Informed
Yeah.
of the industry and the songwriting industry, first and foremost. So I got my start through writing for the girls. They were my first. That was my first gig. And
Wow.
then many more after that.
Was it like a publication deal you were signed?
I
Or
had a publishing deal. Yeah,
publishing deal? Okay,
I had
yeah.
a publishing deal.
I got you. How did you even get in contact with Bad Boy? Was it one of those stories of like, oh yeah, I just met this person at a club and we networked and da da da? Like,
No.
let's see.
I was that hustling New Yorker who was at Starbucks, who was on blogs trying to figure out where X, Y, and Z would be at to get coffee for who and get, so
Yeah.
I was that artist that was like super, super hungry and really keen on meeting the people that I knew would get my life started, as far as music was concerned. And, I ran into one of the interns at Starbucks because I knew he was going to be there.
Wow.
I knew he was going to be there. And I ended up giving him my CD. And I told him, like, I was like, hey, man, we're both in the same place. We're trying to get to a place where, you know, where we feel we need to be. If you could just give me this opportunity and just put this on his desk, I will be very grateful. And that's what happened.
And he did.
Elliot Turner, man.
Wow.
Thank you. If you're Elliot, like, he really did his big one for me. And
Yeah.
he gave him the CD. I got a call, and I was asked to meet on Monday morning at at the Sony building, and from there
It was history.
The rest was history.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love people like that. People like Elliot, just random angels that
Just
God sends to you.
No, because I knew of him.
Of course, yeah.
But like, he didn't have to do that, because there were multiple people who declined me.
Yeah.
Who I knew was getting coffee for, and they declined me. So
Yeah.
he was like, all right, bro, I got you. There was a lot of I got yous, and I didn't hear any call back or anything. So
Yeah.
I feel like Elliot really did that for me.
Yeah, that's what people don't realize about life in general, but like specifically to this conversation, this industry is like, everyone thinks like once you put your foot into New York, once you cross between the New York, New Jersey border and you're in the city, like anything is possible. You just have to talk to the right people, this and this and that. But it's a lot more nuanced and harder than you think, because you could talk to the right people, but those other people have lives. Like, those other people have their own bag. They have their own job that they're working for, their own future, their own kids. Like, a lot of times you will just get like, okay, yeah, I got you. I'll send you a text. I'll, loop you in this email. And sometimes shit just never happens from there.
It could also be detrimental to what they have going on too.
Exactly.
So, he took a chance, and he took a chance on me. So
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful for him.
Did you ever speak to Diddy personally, or was it?
No.
Okay.
No, I never did. I mean, I saw him in passing. We recorded. We did a lot of writing sessions at Daddy's house, which is his recording studio, and I got chills because I'm like, oh, that's the boss. But yeah, I never really formally met him. He, every time the girls were in, the studio with us, which is like times that I could actually count, because it wasn't many. But, when Diddy was coming into the studio, everyone had to get out.
Really?
Yeah, everyone had to get out.
So it was just Diddy and the girls at that point.
It was Diddy and the girls and the main A&Rs that were A&Ring the project. Yeah.
I see. How was the experience working with the girls? You probably get that question a lot, but
it was great.
I'm a huge Danity Kane fan, so.
It was great because, they're people.
Yeah.
People forget that they're people, and they have insecurities too. They have things that they're not necessarily comfortable with. They, have flaws as well.
Yeah.
But they clean up really well.
Yeah, exactly. Show business.
They clean up really, really well, because I was seeing the sweats and the beanies, and I didn't see the glamorous, like I saw it the same way everyone else saw it, but I saw them as people who were talented and who knew how to deliver records. So they didn't necessarily understand harmonies like that.
Right.
they had to build it. Dawn did.
Dawn did.
Dawn did.
Definitely does. Yeah.
Dawn did.
The other ones,
Dawn,
however.
yeah, Dawn did. She understood it all,
Mm-hmm.
and she was one of the. She made everything really, really easy.
Yeah, she's a
In the
superstar.
studio, yeah, she made
Yeah.
everything extremely easy. Sometimes her ideas wouldn't necessarily get, wasn't like it was they were great ideas,
Yeah.
but they weren't the final ideas, which was somewhat sad, but she was the creative, and you knew that, and the rest of the girls kind of like learned a lot from what she did.
Exactly.
But I don't think she necessarily gets the flowers for that. Like,
Yeah.
she thought of the name.
Yep.
She helped them find their niche as far as harmonies were concerned. She taught them runs.
Yeah.
No one talks about
Yep.
that. So yeah, she is the girl behind Danity Kane.
Yeah, I think she's the backbone.
Yeah, she was the backbone
of the group,
and
for sure.
No one really talks about that, but she's successful in her own right now. So,
and that's the thing. It's wild that people don't have that discussion more, because we see all of her work now,
right,
and it's just as excellent as her contributions to the group.
right.
Just people didn't want to see it. Do you think the fact that it was a girl group and it was 5 girls too, let alone, that had something to do with her not getting her flowers? I mean, to each one of those girls as well, it's hard when you're in a girl group and each one could have their moment.
Yeah.
When it's in a big group like that versus a trio group or even like a 4-person group.
I think with any situation like that, when it comes to different females and what America wants to see
Completely.
first, it becomes a little tricky when we're not even talking about the music anymore. We're talking about the brand. We're talking about what the brand could be, And at that time, Dawn wasn't necessarily the face. I mean, if you were as the writer and person that was in the studio, and you knew who the lead singer was.
Yeah. Completely.
You knew who the lead singer was. There was no question about it, but as an African American female who was in a more predominantly white group, that is kind of what America was used to at the time. So that's the direction that they had to go with everything. Granted, it didn't make sense to a lot of people in that creative space, but that it made sense. It made sense at the time.
In terms of news, pop culture, the public world versus in the studio, because in news and stuff like that, we'd always hear about Aubrey, Shannon.
Right.
We would never really hear from other members
of
the group. And you wrote Pretty Boy as well. Was that completely your song that you put together? Co-wrote. Okay.
Yeah, co-wrote.
How was that feeling when you heard that the song was getting included on the album? Like, how does that whole process go for people that are songwriters or for people that have no idea how the whole process
you never know
goes?
You just don't know until the actual project comes out. You sign all the papers, you sign it away, you know what percentage you're gonna get, you get the clearance from the A&Rs, but that final cut, you never know. So when I found out from my manager, I was just like, what?
Was that your first song too to get?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It really was. And till this day, that's something that I'm really proud of, proud about, because, they're icons.
Completely.
They're icons.
They're still talked about now.
Yeah, they're icons,
Completely.
So, I take that with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
As far as the credits are concerned, my name is not there, but I know that that's my work, and I've gotten paid for it, and I've still received residual income for it. And that's another thing. A lot of people who are credited for writing, for co-writing, for all sorts of things regarding a record, sometimes won't be in the credits.
Really?
And still get,
Do they have to pay for those spots on the album, or is it just, you know, the company picking their favorites?
It's the
Essentially,
company picking their favorites, and them, like, a lot of the seasoned writers were in the credits.
I see.
Yeah.
Because then I could see it from a business perspective. You know, it looks great when you're going through the album booklet. And it's like, oh, okay, you know, we have Rodney on the album, so and so and so. Whereas, like, if you bring up an up and coming name,
Right.
people might not be as tuned in. Which, like, that's not my perspective personally, but.
Also, there's a lot of people who are in the credits who didn't contribute. Didn't contribute. You know, it could have been like the word "the,"
Yeah,
and
exactly. They were just in the room.
You're getting full residual income. You know, for the word "the"
Yeah.
that you contributed to the song. So it's a it's ways and balances. It's politics.
Yeah.
It's a lot. You know.
What do you think are the pros and cons that being a songwriter, like, what do you think those taught you, especially now going into your own as a solo artist now, like in terms of the industry, politics, all that?
The pros for me is, imagining this melody. Imagining this melody on the train or in the shower.
Yeah.
And then it, being sung by people you admire.
Yeah.
And then, them repeating the words that you came up with, For a writer, that is probably one of the biggest gratifications, like, that I could ever talk about, because, like, these are emotions that I wrote about. These are things that I want to or imagined experiencing, and you're singing it and you're bringing it to life. So that is the pro. Like, for me particularly, that's one of the things that I love about songwriting. The cons is that it's extremely easy for your things to become stolen.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy. We have copywriting, we have things like, BMI and ASCAP and stuff like that for you to get credited for your work. But, there's still ways for your for your work to get stolen. So
Yeah.
that's the big con.
You might get a petal, not necessarily the whole bouquet of roses or your flowers,
Right. But the pro for me kind of sort of outweighs it a bit.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like it.
For sure.
There's really nothing like it.
Do you have a favorite memory of working with the girls, or your work with Fergie or Sean Kingston as well, from writing?
The funny thing about Sean Kingston, it was supposed to be my song.
Really? Which song was it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, no, it was like The Fire Burning.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to be something for me.
Wow.
I came up with the melody, and they changed the words, they changed everything.
Yeah.
But I came up with that. That was my melody.
Really?
That was something. My manager at the time was pitching me to the label
Completely.
and they they knew I didn't have my papers together. They knew, so they was like, man, this melody right here, this is a melody that's gonna hit.
Yeah.
And then I hear it on the radio.
Wow. Did you know that they ended up going with Sean covering the song instead, prior to it being released?
Yeah, I did. And as a person who didn't have any experience, who didn't have his papers, who did not know the ins and out of the logistics of songwriting,
For sure.
I was just elated at the fact that this, Caribbean superstar, as a Caribbean person myself,
sure.
I was just like, wow, he's a star. He's singing, something that I came up with. So I didn't see a dime.
Yeah.
I didn't see a
Still
dime.
to this day?
Still to this day, I didn't see a
For
dime.
Fire Burning, you still haven't seen a dime.
I still haven't seen a dime.
Really?
But that's a huge pat on the back for me, because that let me know that I am talented and I do belong here,
Yeah.
and I can produce hit records. Like I can do it, you know.
Yeah.
So um, for me, it was a huge confidence boost, you know. And I took that and I ran with it, and I knew that I was able to write these songs, and I'm able to captivate and curate these you know amazing
Yeah,
melodies.
you have an ear for it,
So
you
for
know?
me, that I would like that was the win for me. Some people may think different, which I'm not faulting you for,
Yeah.
but for me, that was at the time, it was definitely worth it. Because I
Yeah.
sacrificed a lot at that time.
Hmm.
So for me to have that type of recognition meant the world to me.
Yeah, I think that truth is cooler than the contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whenever now that song comes on the radio, I'm always gonna think of you now.
Right.
Whenever it comes on, and same thing, you're in the car and you're with your friends and it comes on the radio.
Hmm.
They're all gonna look at you and be like,
Yeah.
and because they know,
Yeah.
Whereas if you just got a contract and some money, how could you, show off or embrace your creative skills that way?
Yeah.
Whereas like that truth, I don't know, going to bed at night with that truth
Yeah.
means a little more at the end of the day, especially as a creative. Like, yeah, this is a business, blah, 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 all that stuff. But I could tell you care about this shit because you're a genuine creative, you're an artist
Yeah.
before all that stuff. And yeah. And so speaking of, you being an artist, I wanted to talk about your new music and stripper moves as well, because you were talking about how you have an ear for captivating and stuff like that. And all your new music is inspired by sex workers and escorts and how they captivate. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about that because I saw that when I was reading your bio and I was really interested, and I heard it too in the music. Like I felt it.
So stripper moves really came about just me talking my shit, and you know, wanting recognition for my shit
Right.
this time, this go around, because I do feel like in our community that I am a force to be reckoned with. And, enough people don't know,
Yeah.
but they'll find out,
Yeah.
and I want them to find out, and I'll make sure that they find out, So it started from there. And then I, got inspired by, the movie Hustlers,
Yeah.
and,
Completely.
how that, those caliber of women who are strippers, found a way to really dig deep to kind of like, really
Yeah.
hustle,
Completely. Yeah.
these, high end, high roller men,
Yeah.
in corporate America. So I just thought that like that in itself, like strippers who don't necessarily, settle for just being strippers are the ones who
Completely.
are going to be extremely successful. There's so many avenues for you to uh, to to really get your feet wet in, and with Jennifer Lopez's character, that's what she was trying to, put these women on,
Completely.
So I saw that and I was just like, man, yo, like that's me. Like I just don't want to just settle for being an artist,
Yeah.
for just settle for being an artist in, the queer community. Like I want to be more than that. I want to
Exactly.
be a creative who is successful, who inspires, who has incredible visuals, incredible style, incredible, who captivates people.
Yeah.
That's my goal, and this song stripper moves is basically stating how, like I'm the shit.
Point proven. Yeah.
That I'm the shit, and you're gonna find out. And
Hmm.
all the reasons, that all the reasons that I've stated in the song, and that I'm gonna continue to state, like, these are facts. These are not things that I just made up.
Exactly.
I did the work. I'm doing the work. So Yeah, stripper moves is that's what stripper moves is about, and I'm very proud of it.
I
Very, very
love
proud
it.
of it.
I love how Hustlers is the inspiration because
Yeah,
I saw that movie and I left. I felt inspired. Like
yeah.
I don't care if they potentially killed a whole bunch of rich white men. Like I don't. You can't really kept me at that point. Like I loved it. I thought it was really inspiring because of that message alone. Like they weren't settling for less. Let alone they wanted to take care of their families and take care of their people.
Right,
Like
right.
it was the second leading actress. She had like her grandmother she was taking care of and supporting, and then they had the scene where they're celebrating Christmas and everybody's happy. Like we all have dreams and stuff like that, and of course like we don't want to cross out our own morals when it comes to achieving them, but also at the same time like you can't settle for less
Right.
in a world, and especially in an industry like that only wants to give you like your baseline. Or same thing with entertainment, especially for young people too. Like it's so easy to be taken advantage of, exploited, or just kind of kept at like that intro entry level, and just be like, oh no, you should stay here, you're much more comfortable here, you're much more comfortable as a songwriter for other people. But with your music you're saying no,
No,
I got this, I could do it for the other girls too, and I could
right,
do it for myself as well.
right, right.
And I also wanted to say I love Guy Like Me. That's my favorite song. I love that song. That's my favorite from that project, and like probably one of my favorite from your discography overall. That outro, it's just so soft and sexy. I love that outro. And speaking of sexy too, your EP, we could tease the name, correct? For it? The upcoming EP?
One more time?
The EP? We could talk about the name, correct?
Yeah, of course.
So Gem, it's called, according to what you've been telling me before, it's about sex and your really healthy and well sex life with your partner. And I love that. So how's everything going with the partner? How'd you meet them? And what brought you to this point in having such a healthy sex life? I love that, first of all. I love anything that's just about sex, because sex is more than just sex.
Yeah, like for me, sex is it's important, yeah, of course, but it means something more.
Completely.
It means something way more because you're physically connected, but for me, good sex is physically and emotionally connected as well.
Yeah.
So when you're emotionally connected to the sex, it becomes something different. So right now I'm just in a really good space, and I spoke about it in the beginning as far as timing. Just feel like everything has aligned itself, with including my relationship too as well. Like, I have a fiance, and he is the best. He is the best. He supports me. We're striving for different things. Of course, mine is music. His is art. He's an artist and a designer as well. And he designs a lot of the stuff that I wear in my music videos and for photo shoots and stuff. And we just work hand in hand. But if he wasn't a designer or if he wasn't a fashion an artist, like, I feel like we would have still connected.
Yeah, completely.
In the same way because of the energy. Like it's almost like a gravitational pull between the both of us, and I've never felt that with anyone. And
how long have you been together?
It's gonna be 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Like he was my I knew it was him when we got through the lockdown.
Really? Oh, so you spent together. That's right.
We were locked down together.
It must have been challenging at some points, though.
It was extremely challenging.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was towards the end, did you realize you're like, okay, this is a real one?
Mm-hmm. This is the real one. Because when I tell you every single Gemini trait exposed itself during the lockdown.
What sign are you?
I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini too?
I'm a Gemini.
So it's 2 Geminis?
No, he's a Scorpio.
Oh, okay. I got you.
He's a Scorpio, yeah. So I'm talking about mine.
Oh, so you might have been the problem. Okay, yeah.
I'll admit it. I'll admit it.
That's good.
I really was, and I there were traits that I didn't even know existed. There were traits that I didn't even know existed, and I was learning about myself throughout the beginnings of our relationship because I didn't know I had, temperaments like this. I didn't know I had, a small attitude problem. I
It
had no
happens.
idea. No one ever brought that out of me. I always kind of like stayed in my lane and didn't really put myself in situations where I could even, give that type of energy off. But
Right.
like it was there. It was there in full effect. And he took it in strides and literally was the best about it and was really strong about it, throughout the entire process. Like I honestly, I tell him this all the time. I don't know if I could have, you know, if I would have made it through the lockdown without him,
Yeah.
because, I had my anxiety was just doing weird things. My mental health was all over the place. And, he, kept both of us strong. So I knew after that it was, yeah,
Really?
I was like, yeah, it's you.
Do you
It's
think
you.
when you first met, did you know then as well? Do you believe in that whole love
Yeah,
at first sight thing too?
like I always think ahead. I always
Yep.
think I always think ahead, and especially as a New Yorker, you just don't fucking know, and you just don't know who will, who you'll meet or what will come from a situation. But
Right.
you have to be hopeful. You have to be hopeful, and I was definitely hopeful. I was like, wow, he's fine as hell.
Yep.
I was like, he's fine, and I could see us happening, but you just don't ever know. But I'll put 100% into it and see what happens.
Right.
I'm one of those people, like, I'm not afraid to get my heart broken
Same.
because baby, it'll turn into an album.
Hey, exactly. See?
It'll turn, for me, it's one of those, double-edged swords. Like you know, I'll get stabbed, but I just know that the most amazing content will come
Exactly.
from it.
Exactly. I'll just wipe off the blood, put some Neosporin on it and a Band-Aid and I'm
And a
set.
Band-Aid, and I'll keep it pushing because you'll
Yeah.
be a song. The whole it's funny, the whole Ex Committed project was about my ex.
Yeah.
It was about my ex. Guy Like Me was I was talking about my ex.
Yep.
And like many writers, I like to speak and write from an organic place, from a
Completely.
place of that I, actually experienced, because it'll mean more, and the sound, the feeling that I get when I sing it will be true.
Yeah.
So, I the whole Ex Committed project was about him. He knows.
Hey. And
He knows.
I think that's the fun part, and it also is the challenging part about being a creative person, is that we kind of look for not troubling situations, but unpredictable situations we can't figure out emotionally,
Yeah.
because somehow we'll still find our way deep in it and then find our way out. But I don't know, it kind of fuels us in a way.
Yeah.
Like, even for me, I'm never afraid to get my heart broken by a guy, because I know it's going to influence me somehow to motivate myself more when I go to work, when I go to the gym, etc.
Yeah.
Like, it's just some type of fuel like I kind of don't want to live without.
Do
You know?
do you block your exes? Are you like that person that block?
Never. All my friends do that shit. I think that's so whack and so counterproductive. No, you could still follow me and enjoy the show. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy on what you missed out on,
I
if
don't know.
anything.
I get like a high when I see an ex in my stories.
Exactly. Exactly. Because
I
they're
like
thinking
get,
of you.
like the biggest high. I was like, damn, I looked real good in that story too. I looked amazing in that
Yep.
story.
Yep.
So I don't block my exes at all.
I think it's so fun to just have them sit and watch still.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
when they fucked up too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the best part,
best
because
part.
when they see the story, they're holding their thumb and they're like, don't go to the next story.
They're probably gonna unfollow me now. But
Hey, they probably have all the pictures screenshotted anyways for memory and nostalgia and whatnot.
Right,
No, I'm the
right.
same way. I don't do that. whole thing. Even with guys that like I fell out with that like we never ended up dating, like I'll still follow them. Maybe I'll mute them if anything, because I don't need my mind running around and thinking too much, because it will go there.
Right.
You know, you score and you're just like, what could have we been? You know, you do that whole thing. So maybe I could eliminate that from my life, but I definitely want to eliminate them from
Yeah.
my follow list or
But you know, the way
anything.
algorithm is working, algorithm knows when you just don't want to. So you might not even have to mute them. You just won't see them.
The algorithm exposes the fuck out of me on countless occasions. One, like when there'll be a gentleman that I'm talking to or just like kind of randomly currently obsessed with, they'll always show up first on like my Instagram, like when I view who looks at my stories. And I know it's not because he's looking at my shit first.
Right.
It's just because Instagram knows that I want to see if he looked at my shit first, which is annoying. And then same thing, like if I post a fucking Instagram story of like my grandmother and I, it's like 50 views or whatever. But if it's me in like a jockstrap, like after the gym, it's like 500. And I'm just like, Instagram just wants to stay exposing me, but like
Right.
also not mad at him at this point. But what do you think, I had this question earlier I wanted to ask, what do you think is your partner's greatest contribution to your relationship? And what do you think is your greatest contribution to the relationship?
There's a lot. He's contributed a lot to me, to my personal growth. That has contributed to me as an artist. You know, I don't know if I could pinpoint just one, but he's contributed to me really knowing my worth as an artist, as a person, as, you know, someone who's, you know, who's valuable to businesses.
Yep.
You know, he's really helped me understand like who the fuck I am, you know, and like I think that's probably one of the biggest ones, you know. He's also helped me with my patience.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'm always looking to, you know, get a short term fix as opposed to something long term and successful, and and you know, he's definitely helped with my patience as well, you know. But that big one is you know, my worth. You know,
Yeah.
because you know, there's sometimes, you know, as an artist, sometimes you question yourself, you question
Yep.
your abilities, and you question, you know, and he's just like, what the, okay, he'll curse me out and be like, okay, so I'm not trying to listen to this, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna listen to this, like, do you need me to pull shit up, do you need me to play shit, like no, don't do this, don't go into this self-sabotage moment, you know, where you feel like you're not, you know, worth it. You haven't met the right person. You haven't, you know, your stuff hasn't been heard by the right person. So let's not go there. So
Yeah.
he's like, he's really, you know, helped and checked me a few times, you know, which I love him for.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that other person too, because as humans and as creatives and as artists, we get so stuck in our heads sometimes where we feel like we're just moving along life and nobody could see us moving.
Right.
And it's just us and the mirror and whatever we're doing, whatever we're working on. And sometimes you need that person, your friend, especially, or a partner, somebody that's closest to you, to be like, no, I see you. You're doing fine. You're just simply being hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we just kind of have that bias because we live with ourselves 24/7, you know, and you need that other outside non-biased source to be like, no, you're doing good. You're worth it.
Yeah.
Just to remind you of that. And I wanted to ask you two more questions. The first one, going back to music and going back to, I mean, especially like you worked with Bad Boy and everything. What do you think about the whole R&B is dead comment? Especially because you're an R&B artist yourself. I said the same thing too when I saw it. Your thoughts?
I honestly think, you know, it was clickbait. It was something along that lines, because it's clearly not dead. You know, there's a different variation of it now. There's a different, you know, there are different formulas to, and there's
Completely.
different ideas of what people think R&B is. But if you think of R&B as Genuine, Drew Hill, that kind of R&B,
Yep.
like that old school R&B, then you're not giving R&B its full respect.
Exactly.
Respect the genre. The genre is more than 80s, 90s
Yeah.
R&B.
Completely.
There are amazing artists that have helped cultivate this new wave of R&B that is incredibly beautiful and that has inspired artists like me, like myself.
Completely.
You have artists who's one of, I get goosebumps just talking about my man's, but
Uh-huh.
Tank is
Yes.
like my vocal father.
Yeah.
He's the way he
brilliant.
harmonizes, the way he builds records is where I learned from.
Yeah.
And even him, as someone who came from that era, he is constantly moving in the direction where R&B is moving.
I agree. His new music sounds incredible. Slow is incredible. We played it at our station that I work at the other day.
So I was
incredible.
just completely taken back, and I was just like, Diddy, are you even, like, you're not even R&B, sir.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong.
He's contributed a lot. Mary, etc.
Contributed a lot, to the genre.
Yeah.
But, to just put an axe in it like that, it's not even, it's disrespectful. It's incredibly disrespectful. It's disrespectful to artists like Chris Brown. It's disrespectful to artists like Mario. It's disrespectful to artists like her and LMA. Like these girls, these people are carrying the genre right now.
The girls specifically.
The girls. Majority
are
of the girls.
Yeah.
Ari Lennox. It's so many. Summer Walker is so many.
SZA, let alone.
SZA
has, the classic album of our time right now.
Like SZA's way of creating melodies and creating structure within how she moves through verses and choruses is literally like a magician.
Yep.
No one in the industry has ever done it that way.
It's new.
It's new.
It's not something inspired or borrowed.
It's not inspired. It's not borrowed, because back in the day, in the 80s and the 90s, everyone borrowed from everyone.
Completely. And songs had a structure. You know what I mean? They would hear the instrumental first and see what can we fit into this.
It was the verse.
Yep.
Pre.
Yep.
Chorus.
Second verse.
Second verse. Second pre-chorus. Bridge.
Yeah, you could tell SZA writes her songs as poetry before she finds a bed to lie on.
Yes, and then like the way her she does, it's not a nursery rhyme. Sometimes things don't rhyme in her songs. Sometimes things don't rhyme in her song, and it's incredible. Like, I love that you said poetry, because her music is incredibly poetic.
Completely.
So it's a big slap in the face to people who are creating their own lane in R&B, and who could sing their faces off. It's incredibly disrespectful. R&B is definitely not dead.
It's just evolved.
It's just
evolved.
and I know people in my world, of music, who are curating amazing melodies and harmonies that were inspired by Brandy, and
completely,
that have taught me,
Brandy's
natural, what's
whole
up?
Other topic I could start a whole new show on.
That could be a whole nother, so it's disrespectful to people even like her. Oh my God, even like Brandy. You're disrespecting
Brandy, the vocal Bible herself.
You're disrespecting Diddy. You're disrespecting Monica. You're disrespecting these girls that came from that era that are still.
Monica just did her Tiny Desk.
You're disrespecting Jasmine Sullivan, Diddy.
Me and my engineer were just talking about that before we started. She had the best R&B album of the past 5 years, probably since Control.
her alone, just her.
Right.
You just disrespected Jasmine.
Even I'm
And
gonna
she should
say
definitely throw a window at your brick at your
right,
She
exactly.
should definitely like you deserve it now.
Busting windows out your car.
You should bust that shit
Exactly.
right the fuck out. Like, are you kidding me?
I'm also gonna bring up Janae too. Let's not act like Janae Aiko didn't carry the genre from 2011. I think Sail Out came out till
She's another one. She's another one that created a lane.
all the girls wanted to be Janae.
She created a blueprint. She
100%.
created like Nikki. She created Barb's. She created
Yep.
Janae's. Like they're everywhere now.
Everywhere.
So you cannot say that. We've continuously elevated the genre, just like every other genre.
Exactly.
Maybe country music doesn't, move the way
as quickly.
R&B, or maybe other genres haven't, given room to grow and flourish the way that other genres do. But hip hop continuously grows, and some people who come from that older era always have something to say when it moves the way it does.
Exactly.
When TikTok social media grabs a hold of it, and TikTok grabs a hold of it, and all these other, social media platforms, like, make it different.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
Exactly.
It's still there.
Like,
some of them shouldn't be touching it.
Completely.
Some of them shouldn't be touching it,
Right.
but it's still there. And the reason why it's still there is because of artists, like I just mentioned, that are continuously, broadening
exactly.
the genre. So
Exactly.
I just thought it was very ignorant and very ignorant. For him to say that, as a music mogul, as a mogul, period.
Yeah.
That was just not. Mary's still carrying it too.
Still.
And you had
Good
the
Morning,
nerve to
Gorgeous.
say it to
Right.
her. You had the
Yeah.
nerve to have that conversation with her. Like, come on.
Meanwhile, she still dropped a hit album in 2022. Still sounding fresh. Still sounding new.
Still looking amazing.
Please.
Still looking amazing. So it was just
Exactly.
really disrespectful. I didn't pay it no mind. A lot of people who, were triggered by it, did, but I didn't pay it no mind. I just knew what it was. Like, you're obviously doing this for some sort of, attention.
Uproar,
because this is obviously not true.
Because the genre's doing well.
Yeah.
And if you care about it, don't you want it to grow?
Yeah.
Considering he's contributed so much to it, I would want people to not just keep on lingering on my shit because it's my shit. No, take what you can from it. And if you don't want to take anything from it, okay, go and be inspired by else things. Like, go find your own sound.
Granted, there will never be another Mary. There will never be, there will never be another Alicia. There will never be another,
Brandy,
Anita.
Aaliyah.
Like there, another Whitney. There's never gonna be another one of them.
Of course.
And maybe that's why he made those comments, because we're not getting that kind of like connection
Completely.
the way we do, because everything is just so. What's the word? Everything is it's glamorized now.
Yeah.
Everything is so glamorized.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that back then. It was strictly about the music. It was strictly about the talent, and maybe he was speaking from that, aspect, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still not dead, man. It's not even close to being dead. Like, the battery is still full. And there's another bar.
I agree. The genre's doing just fine.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it's been growing, and shows have still been selling out. People are still actively going out of their way to see Summer Walker at a festival, Jasmine, etc. Like, I think it's completely fine. And my last question I want to ask you too, speaking of music as a whole, the R&B genre, every single genre, what do you want your contribution to music to be?
So, I feel like I have a unique sound. you know, I use a lot of, you know, my culture in my music. You know, my Caribbean culture. You'll hear some accented parts there. You'll probably hear some accented words in this interview. But, I want to just be true to myself as, you know, an artist, you know, of queer experience of you know, that comes from, you know, my world, and, you know, to be treated and respected for my work. You
Yeah.
know, like I want for people to listen to my music and hear that I'm speaking from an honest place. You
Yeah.
know, and know that this is not a gimmick. You know, I'm you know gonna talk about things that you probably don't want to say, or you're probably thinking of, or I'm going to write about stuff that you're gonna connect to. I'm gonna sing about things that you're gonna connect to. You know, guy like me.
Yeah.
That was something that I loved writing, and you know, I knew that my partner would never find someone like me
Yeah.
ever. You know, someone close, someone probably that has traits like me,
But like
but
me,
like me,
never.
no, no. So, you know, I want to leave a lasting impression on people when it comes to my music, whether you connect with it, whether you just love it, whether you're just fucking with the rhythm and the melodies and everything. I want you to have an honest and real connection to my music.
Yeah. And there is a real connection to it because we hear a lot from other artists and up and coming artists that used to be singer songwriters, and you hear their own stuff and it's like, yeah, this is great, but maybe their strength lies in more in contributing to other people's music. But your music, it really does stand alone. And I hear an artist that's an artist of themselves and not just for another person, or oh, maybe could have sold this to so and so artist. No, your music does stand out, and I can't wait to see the visuals you have prepared for Jen, because it's going to be a visual project, correct?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Every song is gonna have a visual.
Every song.
Every song.
How many tracks?
It's 8.
8, and you have features too, correct?
Yes. Yes. I have
Can
some
you
really
share
cool.
any?
Yeah. I have Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rapper, and then I also have 7 Deep on
Love.
the project as well. Those are my 2 features right now. Working on a third one. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. All the records with these guys are just like, you know, and I for this project, I really wanted to stay true to like my Afro
Yeah,
roots. So there's a lot of Afro on this project.
I love it. I hope you could do like pop-up performances and stuff like that too. If you have that planned, that would be
Oh yeah,
perfect
oh,
while the
yeah,
summer's
yeah.
still happening.
Yeah.
And
So I'm actually next Wednesday gonna be hosting a party at LeBain.
oh
The
shit,
Standard.
let me
Yeah.
take off work.
So yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be a really really good
Okay.
time. I'll also be jumping on the mic too. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, because I could see you turning out these parties they've been having here over this past summer. But when can we expect the EP and everything?
So the
visuals and
EP is
whatnot?
gonna be dropping in October. You'll get I don't have a confirmed date yet, but yeah, it's gonna be early October, and you'll get a second single at the end of September.
Love, amazing.
So I'm excited.
I'm excited. Again, I want to thank you for coming. You're so sweet, and I'm so excited to see the visuals and everything and whatnot. Let everybody know too where they could find Jay Saint at in real life
you can
online.
find Jay Saint on Instagram at j.next. You can familiarize yourself with everything Jay Saint on jsaintmusic.com.
A website too.
A website
Exactly.
too.
That's when you know you're legit. Not just an Instagram page, a website, darling.
Yeah, jsaintmusic.com will link you to everything, all my socials, my music videos, show dates, and yeah.
Cool.
And subscribe.
Love it. Please do. And you all could follow me on Instagram and stay up to date with the show at Bad Bussy on Instagram. So that being said, till next time, Jay Saint again. Thank you for joining. And once the EP comes out and all that rolls out again, please come back.
Yes, of course.
Please come back. This is not the last time. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in.